I'd be curious to hear some other key areas when you're evaluating a proposal on like universal basic income, what you consider when you're saying, is this a good proposal or is this a bad proposal? So, Giselle, do you have any thoughts on that? Like when you're looking at a proposal of universal basic income, what are you looking at to see if you like the proposal or not?
So the practicality of it, of course, it's all it's all pie in the sky at this moment because we're not in a position politically where we actually have to make decisions about how to put this together and present it to legislators. I mean, if we're going to do this universally in this country, we have a long way to go. When regardless of what happens in the election, we have to educate the. I mean, it took women 80 years to get the vote. It took gay people 50 years to get the right to marry. I mean, these things don't happen overnight. It takes an enormous amount of time and a lot of mobilization and a lot of passion from a lot of people who demand it. So go back to your original question because I already forgot what you asked me.
Yeah. So yes, I certainly agree with you on the point. I think hopefully some of these people who introduced it, like Thomas Paine back in the day and MLK and
Yeah.
Milton Friedman, could help kickstart that process so we don't have to wait 80 years. But the question was, when you're evaluating a proposal, what are some things that you look at to
Yes.
see if it's good or bad?
So what we have is quite a bit of evidence of particular programs or pilots that have been, started and also, explained, or the research was done to explain how they worked. None of them were universal. If you go to the Fund for Humanity website, we have pilots and programs link where you can see all of the programs that Scott Sentence put together, and it gives the results of the programs that have been running, just like the one in Kenya that that's been going on. It's going to go on for 12 years. So we're going to get some results from that, and already we know sort of a lot of the things that Seth said about bringing people together, changing the dynamics in the society have been made evident. I mean, we know that's true. But in order to get this, we have to take a leap of faith because we really don't. There has not been a universal program, so we don't know how it works. And I'm very wary of all the social engineering programs. We are constantly mired in unintended consequences. We keep thinking we can, come up with the perfect plan, and then it just totally goes awry. I mean, look at the Great Society. The Great Society was a huge leap forward in the way this country thought about itself, and it just annihilated generations of people. It was supposed to lift them up, but all the incentives are wrong. Our, our healthcare system. Our healthcare system makes money when we're sick. Hello? What, does anybody know what the meaning of incentives is? I mean, if you incentivize people to behave a certain way, they're going to do it. So if we don't go to a system that wants us to be well and rewards people for keeping us well, we're going to spend not 18% of our GDP on healthcare. We're going to be spending 50% of our GDP on healthcare because it's unlimited. Okay, I want you to keep my parent alive for 5 years at the age of 92 for 5 more years and $1 million a year. Doable with the pipes and all of that. And meanwhile, kids don't have books in schools. Okay, so all of these things, those are not things that you can plan for in advance. Everything has a possible downside. So I like the Silicon Valley mantra, continuous improvement. The death of the 5-year plan is upon us. There's no such thing as a strategic plan in Silicon Valley anymore because a plan is not a thing. They say that about battles. They say that about war. everything goes off the, you plan everything and you step foot, you shoot the first
Yeah.
shot and everything goes wrong. Everything is wrong. Everything doesn't go the way you thought. And I think that's true of all of the things we think about. So I would not answer that question of how because I don't know. I want to see how things play out.
Hmm. I think that's certainly fair. I, being one of those people who kind of works in that field, can certainly say there is a moving away from the people who know this field. Waterfall methodology of having the big plan and executing to it T by T, quarter by quarter, to agile methodology where we keep reevaluating every 2 weeks. So for any of the technology people out there, you know that's true. Plans fall apart very frequently. And so I agree some level of flexibility is needed, and also giving some level of time to see these studies have played out. But now we have to take the leap of faith because, as you said, these aren't truly universal. So it's really just, do we have the political will to make this reality? And if we have the political will, we're going to see along the way there are going to be compromises that kind of need to be made to secure said political will for the legislators to actually do that. So I certainly can agree with you there that it's going to just take the movement forces. We have a good framework in place, and it's really now let's just get it as far as we can to the finish line, and we'll worry about it then.